Welcome back to the podcast, everyone. Today, this episode, once again, is sponsored by Vita Mate, which is a herba mate drink based in Seattle. Each time you see me bringing up one of these drinks, I'm going to give you a little bit more information about them. So, yeah, now you know. Seattle-based. You can find them in grocery stores and gas stations, I'm pretty sure. Today, my guest is a very dynamic artist, and I recently was able to see them live at a So Far Sound show, which is a lot of S's there. So far sounds, right? And he just blew me away. The talent was unmatched. A brilliant pianist. Is that what people say? Pianist or keyboardist?
You know, that's what people who are pianists say.
Okay.
I think, but I don't classify me as I just classify me as someone who starts hitting things on a keyboard and hopes that it works.
He's brilliant at hitting things on keyboards and hoping it works. He might think of this as a compliment or not. He's kind of reminiscent of Jeff Buckley, in my opinion.
Thank you.
He's been seen on NPR's Tiny Desks as well as a few KEXP Live Performances. His band, among authors, is dropping a new single called "The Fear Within Us."
Fears We Hold.
Fuck, I was so close. Fears We Hold. It's my pleasure to have the one and only Ian on. Oh, fuck, what is your last name, dog?
Ketterer. Ketterer.
Ketterer?
Ketterer.
I'm here with
you don't
Ian
even need
Ketterer.
to. You don't even need to say the last name. I don't even say my last name half the time.
But how often are people like, "Oh my gosh, it's among authors"? Do people like try to call you among authors?
No.
Okay.
But I don't give a shit what they call me.
Like people do people call the weekend? Do they go up to him and be, "Oh my god"?
I feel like that is the case. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I mean, like, what the hell's his name? I forget.
Abel.
Oh yeah, that's right. Why do I forget?
It's a weird name too. Not gonna lie though.
Yeah.
But Ian is
Abel's
his name.
A sweet name.
He's from Wisconsin. That was the worst accent I could possibly.
The thing is, you can't use Wisconsin as the word to emulate the Wisconsin accent. You have to use like, "Hey, why don't you like that kind of thing." You just have to like talk in a sentence.
I feel it kind of reminds me of Fargo a little bit.
Fargo, yeah.
There we go. But is Fargo in Wisconsin? Or is that like Canada?
No, I think that's Minnesota.
Minnesota. How far away is? I'm the worst with geography, so I have no idea how far away it is from.
The farther you go, may get you to Fargo. Yeah, it's up there. I don't know.
Okay. Have you been to
No.
So it's not even like relatively. They just have similar accents, or am I just off on that?
I think the further, now I can't get that stupid pun out of my head, but the further north you go in the Midwest, I think the more accentuated it gets.
Got it.
Yeah.
So my guy here is he's from Wisconsin, born and raised. Yes.
Yeah.
Let's start. Let's get right into your background. So you're a multi-instrumentalist and vocalist.
I'm a multi attempting when I need to do music things on all music things. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I don't know.
So when were you born? Was there like lightning? Was it like set the stage?
Yeah, lightning all around, and shit hit the fan, and
yeah,
my mom was like, "We have an Ian."
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Wow.
No one's ever seen anything like it. Actually, shit did hit the fan.
Oh shit.
I actually almost died when I was born.
Oh god.
And so now I'm just remembering that, and I was trying to just make a dumb joke, but yeah, my esophagus wasn't connected to my wherever it needs to be connected, and I was born with tracheoesophageal fistula.
That's a lot of words.
So they had to I was like blue, I guess, and I was born, and then they just rushed me to do a bunch of surgery.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. Which isn't where this scar came from. This came from open heart surgery when I was 23. So all sorts of weird shit.
You've had a a lot of challenges, but a lot of revelations, I'd assume, at the same time.
I wouldn't. Yeah, challenges. The open heart surgery was more of a challenge because I was older, so I was
Right.
like, "This is fucking up my life. Why does this have to happen right now?"
Right.
When I was born, I mean, I didn't know what the hell life was.
Right.
For me, that was just this is the way everyone's born.
Right.
But revelations, you would think I would have more of them. I wish that was the case. Like when I had my open heart surgery, I wish it was like, wow, okay, I almost died again.
Right.
Let's just set the path and conquer the world. I think that lasts for a little bit, and then I'm like, fuck, why do I have to work a day job? This sucks.
Yeah, that's so wild. Like, I guess it also depends on who you are as a person, but it seems like after a while, no matter how crazy an event is, we just go back to our normal lives, and the world just keeps going.
Seems like it.
But
for a lot of people.
But then there's people who have just like PTSD, and then it's like you're just fucked.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. I mean, I feel like with the things I've dealt with, they were personal to me. So it's not, I wouldn't say someone in my position would have as much PTSD as someone who lost a loved one.
Right.
Like my mom, if I had died.
Right.
It's real hard to go back to normal life after something like that. But for me, it's not, it was just like painful.
Right.
Physically painful.
Oh, did they put you under though? Or like, do you remember the surgery?
For open heart surgery? Which surgery are you talking about? Let's clarify.
Okay. I guess we have to go back before we go forward.
Yeah, sorry. I'm jumping the gun. I mean, we just talked about surgery, so I'm like, yeah, these are all the things. Okay.
Okay. This is therapy time / Dr. Burton. I'm Dr. Burton in this instance. Nice
to meet you.
Nice to meet you, sir.
That's an interesting doctor coat you have on.
Thanks. It's Eddie Bauer.
Dr. Bauer.
Dr. Bauer. That's my stage podcast name. So let's go over this. So you had esophagus stuff.
Tracheoesophageal fistula. That's the technical name.
Wow.
Remember that.
I will. That's going to be on our test later, guys. So how did that specifically affect your childhood?
I don't think that specifically affected it. I mean, it affected my parents as I was growing up, I'm sure.
Right.
When I was that young, but for me, I don't think that specific problem affected me that much that I know of.
Okay.
Except for this really weird thing, and I don't know why this happens, and the doctors can't tell me either, but they know it happens with people that were born with that problem, is when you get the surgery done, it does this thing where like specific things that you eat tighten your throat to a degree where when you drink fluids after that, you can feel the water kind of sit there for a second, and then it like pushes down.
Yeah.
It's fucking weird.
But is it forever, or is it after?
Ever. Always. I have that for the rest of my life.
Oh.
It's super weird.
I thought it was going to be like a thing where my grandma's allergic to broccoli somehow, and then it has to do with esophageal stuff somehow. So I thought that's where.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I don't actually know what it's. Maybe I'm just like your grandma. Maybe I'm only just allergic to broccoli, and that's my problem.
But so you can feel that right now. Like if you take a drink.
I have to eat like, so if I eat like a bagel.
Okay.
Or
a bagel? Did you say?
A bagel.
There's the Wisconsin. I found it.
Or if I don't eat meat. But when I did, like chicken, like I said, I don't eat meat anymore. Haven't for a really long time. But when I did, if I ate chicken, it would just super tighten my throat, and it's so weird. I don't know.
Is it the enzymes?
We could go on for. I've tried to figure it out, and I gave up because I have no idea.
So what do you eat now? Is it vegan?
No, I just don't eat.
You don't eat?
Yeah, I don't.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm clear. I'm like pure a non-eater.
So smoothies, you're a smoothie guy?
No, I eat. I'm vegetarian. I was vegan for a while, vegetarian, all for moral reasons.
Like you saw like a documentary, or? You saw like a documentary or?
I mean, I kind of grew up vegetarian for the most part. Me and my brother ate meat to like rebel, I think.
Oh.
Growing up, I'm like, we're gonna eat meat, and my parents are like, yeah, that's fine. We're not telling you you can't.
Right.
And then my brother still eats meat. But then I went back to being vegetarian. Actually, no, I went to being vegan. Because I did watch something called Vegucated documentary, and it is
brutal.
Fucking disturbing. So just for my own reasons, I like to pay attention to all the weird stuff going on with animals.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
There's this there's like multiple ways I take to get back to my house, depending, because I don't like cycles, so I like depending on how I'm feeling, I'll take the long way, the short way, the scenic route. And the only problem with the scenic route back to my house is like the last like 20 minutes you drive past this like slaughtering, like this cow slaughtering place, and it's the most depressing thing.
Yeah.
Because it's in like a beautiful area too. I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah, there's so much death that people don't think about. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't want to turn this into like a political
Don't eat
podcast
meat
about that. Yeah, because I mean, I'm not remotely against hunting. That's a whole different thing. So it's just people have their own preferences. Yeah, and the most important part though is to just not ignore what's actually happening.
Yeah,
I think to talk about things and educate yourself on, and then make decisions.
Or ignore your body, because actually some people like can't do well with meat, like their body just doesn't digest.
Yeah, that too.
Correctly.
Yeah, I actually wonder if my body would do better with meat than it is just being vegetarian. But I think I made the moral choice to never eat meat again for myself. So it is what it is. If it fucks me up, that's okay.
What's like a cheat meal though for vegetarian? Is there like a cheat vegetable, or is it just like carbs? I guess that's the cheat. Because like you're not going to eat like heavy steak every day, because that's not good for you. But that's kind of like a cheat thing if you're kind of health conscious, if you're having like meat.
You mean like you're saying cheat? Like what can I cheat on?
Like a cheat meal. Like what's a vegetarian's cheat meal?
There isn't one, right?
Is there not? Okay.
I don't know. I don't.
Like I'm never gonna have artichoke every day or something. I don't know.
I have no idea.
The things that we think about here on the NAST podcast.
I actually don't eat artichoke much. I like it, but I don't.
Maybe that's.
It's one of those vegetables that like.
It's almost not.
What the
healthy.
fuck is that?
Yeah, it's weird.
Kind of like how do you prepare it? What you get one and you're like, what do I do with this? And
then you eat it with like this. Like, is that the only way? Like,
no.
Like you bite it with your teeth and go like away.
Is that what you do?
Is that not how you do it?
I don't know. Is that how you do it?
I think that's how you do it. You tear off, you boil it or something. You tear off the leaves, and you like.
The only time I eat artichoke is when it's like in.
Oh, the artichoke heart. You only eat the artichoke heart.
I feel like that's probably what I'm always eating.
You've never like eaten the leaves where you go.
No.
Oh, see, because the artichokes honestly aren't that healthy the way people eat them, because you like dip them in butter.
Oh yeah.
And then you like go like this.
Yeah. Oh, being a vegetarian is not like healthy all the time. Let's clarify that. People are like, oh, they're a vegetarian, they must be very healthy. Like, dude, you know how much shit you can eat on any diet that will fuck you up?
Very, very true.
Yeah.
Okay, back on track here.
I don't know where we are.
We're talking about you. So your esophageal stuff did not affect your childhood, but then you said you alluded that there were more surgeries before this open heart, and I feel like this all relates to your art in some way. So that's why we're breaking this down a little bit.
Okay. Yeah. So the tracheoesophageal fistula stuff happened when I was a newborn. That was a thing. Had surgery, fixed it. But I grew up like always getting pneumonia. I don't know why that was until I finally found out, and it was because I had asthma. So like after like multiple bouts in the hospital, they figured that out, and then I was put on an inhaler. Never had that again. So if we're just talking about all health stuff, as a child, I just, I don't know, in and out of hospitals for different things. I had hand surgery because I was born without a thumb on my right hand.
Yeah, you were talking about that at the So Far Sounds show. I don't know why that's so hard for me to say for some reason. So Far Sounds.
So Far Sounds show.
Yeah, that's.
It's because you're adding show, and
okay.
then that just
that's the
screws
extra
it all
S.
up.
Got it.
Yeah.
So I saw you at So Far Sounds at the Edgewater Hotel.
Yeah.
And you're talking about that it's a very rare condition. But what you were describing, I know like 2 other people that I went to school with that had that exact same thing. So I was like, maybe.
Oh yeah, I'm not saying I'm the only one. That's for sure.
But you're saying it was rare, so maybe that's cool. Not saying it's cool to have that, but I'm like, whoa. I know 2 people that I went to school with who had it too. So I was like, wow.
All it is birth defect.
Yeah,
Everyone
but the
has all
exact
sorts,
same, like you were saying, like there was an ear thing and a hand thing.
Yeah.
And I knew 2 people that had the exact same thing.
Yeah, so there is, like any, I guess, classification of person, which I hate to even put anyone in a class because it's so dumb. It's like same with all the fucking labels and shit. It's just we're all human beings. But when the doctors didn't really know what to call whatever that is. And I don't think they still don't.
Right.
They always come up with like 4 different things. Oh, it's golden heart syndrome. It's I can't even remember the other ones. But again, for medical reasons, they always want to try to put a label onto it. But really, that just means it's just like, oh, this person was born with these things, quote unquote, wrong with them. Right. So they're this syndrome.
Yeah.
Which doesn't really mean anything. It doesn't help me figure out how my health will be in the future because they don't really know that much about it.
Fair.
But yeah, growing up without a thumb on my right hand and without an ear on my right side has been that affected my childhood.
Whoa, so you were forced, no matter whether you wanted it or not, to be left-handed.
Yeah.
That's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Because I guess when you're born, you don't really have a... How do you actually know when you're born?
I don't think you just kind of just adapt, and your parents are like, they're right-handed. Unless you have really weird parents who are like, you're going to be specific hand.
So it can be trained into, I guess. Or maybe if you're a kid and you're seeing people around you use their right hand, you end up, I don't know.
I mean, I think I think most kids with their left and right-handed stuff, they say like, oh, if you're left-handed or right-handed, you're mathematical or you're artistic or you're whatever. Like, whatever.
You're left-handed, you're a witch,
Yeah, exactly. Maybe if I'm left-handed, I was born without a thumb on my right hand. Maybe that's the case. I mean, I don't actually know, and I don't remember ever thinking about why I'm left-handed, but that is probably the reason. Is my guess.
That's great.
But yeah, so we were talking about surgeries, and which is why I even brought that up at this point, is because I had a surgery on my hand to try to they were like, okay, well, we can try to give him more dexterity on that hand to let him kind of move around a little bit better. I don't think that it really did anything. It was just trial and error, I guess. But that stuff, which is what this song is about, that's the stuff that affected me growing up. It wasn't the surgeries. It wasn't like, everyone goes through so many fucking things in life, and so I don't want to put myself in this, poor me, I was born with this thing and I had this issue, when there's literally kids that are 5 years old that end at 5 because they had cancer.
Yeah.
So it's more just the mental state of being a stupid human, where you overthink things and just growing up with that. You could call it a disability, but I don't really think it is. But just the mental state of everyday life and and people that you think are looking at you.
Right.
And I had great friends, and I think I remember like maybe twice growing up that someone was like, oh, said something dumb.
Right.
Like maybe twice. And at that time, I feel like it affected me for like a few days.
Yeah, that's a good point. I never felt. I guess it also depends on where you're growing up in the community and everything like that. Because like
It definitely depends.
yeah, because like when I was growing up, I went to a school where like bullying was just like not tolerated whatsoever.
Yeah.
So like, I never even thought about that.
Yeah, and that's I think everyone's life is different, and everyone gets bullied for different reasons, and you can get bullied for the dumbest thing. Well, getting bullied is dumb no matter what.
100%.
but it's usually like just personality differences,
Mm.
and that just kicks in some sort of bullying or whatever. And I was fortunate to be raised in a good family who I think raised a fairly decent human being. So I made friends instead of making bullies, I guess.
Yeah.
For the most part.
And that's awesome.
But there's always those asshole kids who are like sorry about it later.
Yeah.
They're like 25. They're like, dude, I was a shitbag.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, that's okay.
Yeah.
Kids are shitbags sometimes.
Or it's the other way where like they turn out to like still wear their varsity sweater or whatever.
Or that.
Or like
that.
30s.
But honestly, I've found more often than not they grow out of it.
Yeah.
And they're just like, man, I feel bad about saying stuff to people because like life is so much more important than telling someone else you kind of suck.
100%. 100%. So with that, we know a little bit about your background now. When did you start figuring out you had any musicality in your bones?
I mean, pretty early, because my parents had a cover band.
Okay.
Called Rapunzel.
Nice.
Because everyone had long hair, so that's literally why it was called
Hence,
Rapunzel.
are you in Rapunzel too?
I was. So,
oh shit.
Not anymore. It's not a thing anymore. But, I started playing trumpet when I was in 5th grade because that's like when you start.
Yeah.
That's when I feel like that's when Americans start playing instruments. Every other part of the world, I feel like they're like, I started playing when I was a newborn. And yeah, just continued that. I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
It's yeah. But I started playing trumpet when I was in 5th grade because my parents were like, if there's anything you have to do, it's learn an instrument. Just because it's good for your brain. I'm like, okay, cool. Played that through high school until my senior year, and then quit band my senior year because I hated it. I just hated the structure and like learning how to read music, and I just did not like that setting of experiencing music, I guess. But anyways, I played with my parents' band, and they did a whole bunch of covers from a whole bunch of different rock bands: Led Zeppelin, Aerosmith, Dream Theater, whole bunch of stuff. All three of my sisters were in that band. My sister Alicia was the drummer. My sister Julia was a keyboardist. My sister Tara played saxophone. My mom was the bassist, and my dad was the lead guitarist, and they all kind of sang. And it was a fun way to grow up.
Sounds like it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So it's, I guess once you know one type of sheet music, you can kind of understand it, others in a sense, but did you carry over learning sheet music from the trumpeter? Oh, okay.
No, I'll tell you how I learned trumpet.
Okay.
Fundamentally learned trumpet. We were supposed to learn how to read, and I kind of did. And then I just noticed it was easier for me to learn things after someone else learned it. So I would sit in my chair in band. They'd all kind of learn the thing, and then they would play it. I'm like, oh, okay, I got that.
Okay.
So I just play by ear.
I feel that. Yeah, that's interesting. I feel like I'm so bad at learning. Like I did Mandarin for 3 years, and I was like first of all, of course, I was the only black person, but the only other, they had one other person that was like white, and the rest were all they already could speak Mandarin like fluently, so it's just like an easy A for them, right? So I had this like weird thing where I kind of had to like to keep up with the class. I had to memorize everything and just throw it up onto the test. So I never really memorized it. But for band, I never was able to learn anything through ear. So to keep up, I had to like understand sheet music.
That's the thing. I feel
Yeah.
like usually there's like one or the other brain, the way you learn things,
Mhm.
right? Or the way that your brain sinks it all in,
Yeah.
and neither way is wrong
Right.
or right.
Yeah. But then once you know sheet music too, it's so funny because I guess that's with any language. Just because you know it doesn't mean that's how you're supposed to actually do it either.
Yeah.
So like that's the because it doesn't tell you how. I guess there's like hat notes and everything like that for pauses and anything like that, or like hat notes, half notes, or whatever.
Yeah.
But like sometimes it's up to you how long you want to hold a note as well.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And accent it or anything like that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of interesting. So it's cool it's always interesting to see people that don't know sheet music whatsoever. And they're like killing it too.
I mean, well, I mean, maybe I could be killing it more if I knew sheet music. Like, I'll never know. Who knows?
You'll never know. Maybe someone will watch this and be like, I'm willing to teach you for free how to read.
Yeah, they're watching this right now and they're like, man, if only he knew all the theory and all the sheet music, then he would be good.
Right. Wait, so what instrument did you do for your band? For your family band?
For my family band, I played trumpet.
Oh, so you did the trumpet
Yeah, like I played trumpet in school.
Right.
So I was like, oh, I'll play trumpet when my family band needs it in family band, which wasn't on every song, obviously. But I'm not going to put trumpet on Led Zeppelin, but you know, but yeah.
Okay. And you left high school. You graduated high school.
I did graduate.
There we go.
I've
met so many artists who haven't graduated college or sometimes high school. So at this point, to be courteous, I'm like, you left.
You left and you finished the story. I did graduate high school.
There we go.
And
congratulations.
The funny thing is, if it wasn't for my mom sitting me down and going, Ian, do this math problem, do this, I had to catch up on like almost a year's worth of math because I just didn't want to do it. She's like, you're not failing high school. You're going to do all this shit. And then I graduated.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
And then what was your trajectory after that?
Then my parents were like, if you want to do music, well, so in high school, I didn't know. I wasn't like, I'm going to do music for a living, whatever the hell that means.
Right.
It was, I had ended up, I started learning piano. I was teaching myself how to learn piano because I saw my sister Julia was playing it in the family band and it kind of just seemed fun. So I would just like sit down at her pianos and screw around. And then after I quit band in high school, my senior year, I then started going into the practice rooms in the band room, and I started enjoying it. And my old band teacher, liked me more after I quit because I wasn't disrupting how she wanted to teach things. I was just using my free time to learn piano on one of their pianos. So then I'll get real dark for a second, but it'll come back. Then a bunch of classmates, like four, and a few good friends died in a car accident.
Oh my gosh.
And I wanted to just play a song in front of the school for that. So I learned, was it Dreamer by Ozzy Osbourne?
Okay.
I don't know why I learned that song. I don't listen to Ozzy Osbourne, but that one just hit me for whatever reason at that time.
That's great.
And I played it in front of the whole school, and my English teacher at the time came up to me, and she was like, "You shouldn't go to college. You should just just write music and start playing music."
Wow.
It was literally that conversation where I was like, yeah, fuck school. And now looking back, I'm like, I mean, don't fuck school if you want to go to school.
They were tricking me.
But I think just everyone thinks different.
Yeah.
And their brains work different. And my brain, I love to learn things. I learn things on my own. I'm always looking up a ton of information on everything, but I just cannot deal with being in a classroom.
Mhm.
So that's kind of, but then after that, I still went to college for a year because my parents were like, just have a backup plan.
Mm.
I'm like, okay, cool. So I went to college for graphic design.
Oh shit! Really?
Failed every class, except some Photoshop class, because I just again was like, I don't want to do this at all. So I dropped out after a year. I'm selling myself right now. Is what I'm doing.
I was about to say I need to meet some more graphic designers.
My brother's a graphic designer,
Really?
so I'll
Hell
hook you
yeah.
up.
Like everything I do with graphic design, I hope this isn't. I guess everything's like this in a little bit, but like anything I create graphic design wise is due to inspiration from something else and replicating it and then making it a little like tweak so it's my own thing.
So art then?
Yeah. But I'd like to be able to like visually and like in my head actually know how to make something.
Yeah,
without...
like you have the concept and you just
yeah.
pump it out because that's exactly what you wanted.
Yeah, but I have no idea how to do that or like the steps. I would have to like I just research everything. So
I mean, just AI
yeah.
AI that shit now.
Oh, I just had an AI. Did you see that? I just had an AI artist on my podcast.
Really?
Out of New York. He's super filthy. He like his content's been like blowing up all over YouTube and Instagram and stuff.
That's
like hundreds of thousands. Like
it's such an interesting space. We'll talk about that when we talk about the song because there's a specific way we did the album art.
Yeah. So you left college. Wait, so while in college or anything like that, like so after leaving high school though, were you in any bands besides your family bands? Okay.
No. So when I finished high school, I just the way I learned piano is I just started writing music. And write meaning I was not writing it down. I was just in my head and then learning what was in my head and putting it together. That's my definition of writing music, and it still is today. But I just started writing stuff, and then that's all it kind of was for a bit while I went to, I guess is tech school the same thing as college?
I guess like
it was tech school. I wasn't going to like some Harvard, some cheap tech school. And that's like what my life was for a bit. I worked at Best Buy and hated it. Worst place to work. Hate it. Best Buy, you suck. Just, calling it out. But after I left tech school, I think it was after I left tech school, I worked at Best Buy. And it was during that time that I just was like, I should put a band together and find people and do that. So that was like 2006.
Okay.
I'm old, man.
Yeah, you said you're 37?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty great.
My hair says it all.
When did you... Yeah, I couldn't tell.
People think I dye my hair.
That's what I thought at first,
No,
too.
I don't.
Really?
All authentic, old.
When did it start coming in like that?
I don't know. Probably when I was 10. No.
There's a lot of people like that.
It was seriously like young though, like 23 or something. I don't know.
Wow.
Not like this, but like I never paid attention to it. All of a sudden I woke up. I'm like, what the fuck? I have a white head.
How old do people think you are usually?
I feel like they think I'm in my 20s.
Yeah, you kind of look like a hipster.
I mean, like, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know what that, I don't know.
I'm dead. Okay.
That's why I think people think I'm dyeing my hair. I'm like, no, I've never dyed my hair. I'm actually old. That's how I...
That was the weirdest. I don't remember what that guy said the other day. I want to keep saying the other day, even though we know when we met. I'm just going to make it seem like it's been like ages.
Yeah, back a few years ago.
A few years ago when we met at that one show.
Yesterday.
this guy, like I was introducing myself to you, and this guy randomly came up. And he's like, "You did a good job for a 30-year-old." I was like, "What the fuck does that mean?"
Is that what he said?
Yeah,
That is amazing. For a 30-year-old, for a 37-year-old, dude, get it right.
It was the weirdest compliment.
Oh, that's so funny. That's one thing I've learned through doing music is how to appreciate people's compliments.
Oh man.
Because they're all different and they all come from a good place, even if you feel like it might be disruptive to you.
Mm-hmm.
Like I don't know how many, and this is why I haven't actually talked about the way I was born for a while, because I didn't want anyone to pay attention to it when I'm doing my music. I'm like, I don't want you to say that I'm good for having a missing thumb. I don't want you to say I'm good for, I just want you to, if you like it, I want you to like it.
Right.
And if you don't, that's fine too. But I don't want you to like it for a specific reason that's not just, this is good to you.
Mm-hmm.
And I've had people come up to me like, man, I can't believe, so you learn how to play without a thumb on your right hand? Man, you sound pretty good for that. I'm like, thank you so much. And you just have to say thank, because they mean it in a good way. Yeah. They just, it came across not right.
I guess I have to learn that too, to be honest.
It goes both ways though. People need to also learn how to not be offended by things.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's just as important. I think human beings are good in nature, and you need to trust that most of them are.
Right.
I think that's the most important thing. That's how we all come together and actually do cool things.
Yeah. I also liked how you were talking to the audience. You're dropping a lot of F-bombs, and I feel like it took a lot of people aback, but I think it was kind of needed. From my understanding, also, if you guys are watching this, hopefully, I'll know in the next few days, I'm supposedly getting hired by So Far Sounds, which I'm pretty excited about. But
So Far Sounds, if you're watching this,
I had a job interview, so
hire this man.
He's my letter. What is it?
I can write you one.
There we go.
You want me to write you one?
Please.
I mean, I'll write it to Max, the booker for the whole West Coast. I'm like, this dude needs to be in So Far Sounds. I'll do that today. I'll send you one.
Please, thank you. From my understanding, this is from a very outside perspective. Very, very. What I was told So Far Sounds was kind of for, this could be very like wrong. So
mate, go for it. I don't work for them.
Right.
I mean, I guess I do work for them in a way, because I am an artist.
They contracted you or something.
I work for them some days.
Some days. We won't tell you which days because it's
always random and it's a secret. Yeah.
But what I was told before applying or anything like that it's a safe space for like kind of like upper class wealthy people to listen to newer artists instead of having.
Is that what you were told by So Far?
No.
Okay.
This is what I was just told by like people.
Okay.
It was made for kind of like more upper class people to experience up and coming artists without having to go to like a random punk rock bar or house show. So like that, from that perspective, I was like, oh shit, this is the type of artist people need to be hearing. Because
I need to hear the one with all the F-bombs.
Yes, that's the whole mindset I was in, and that's how that guy complimenting you made me feel like he was very disassociated from art.
Yeah,
but I don't know if that's what So Far is going for.
I think you're probably right about how he complimented me to you.
Yeah.
Because I don't even think he talked to me, but being disassociated with art and being in a bubble, to me, it's okay. As long as we give the people the energy and space to not get offended by whatever they're saying, they're good. But I think So Far for me started a long time ago, seeing bands in houses, like proper house shows that were really secret, like you had to get invited to go. And you know, I have some really good friends to this day that I met there that were playing in bands and stuff. And then it took a turn into more of the corporate world, which isn't, I'm not saying that as a bad thing. It is what it is. You may think that's a terrible thing. You may think it's a great thing. And you know, I do think a lot of artists rip on so far, because they think about it in the corporate sense. Like, okay, well, they're charging this much money for this ticket, and it's for the upper class to go experience. And like, and for me, when I think about that, I'm like, yeah, I've been frustrated sometimes about so far charging that much money too, and paying me the little amount that they do.
Right.
That being said, I can agree to accept that little amount and play, or I can't.
Right.
And once I do, what do I have? I mean, I'm saying I'm okay with this. There's a built-in crowd, and that's what it is. And for me, it's audiences, even if it's like an upper class who's a little, maybe they're more disassociated with art. I don't know. I mean, I've had some fucking, well, for instance, you were there.
Yeah.
So
hell yeah.
You seem real disassociated with art. What a loser. So I mean, I've met a lot of great people at So Far shows, and people that have become, you know, permanent fans, and people who haven't. But that's like, it is what it is.
Yeah.
You know. But yeah, the F-bombs are a real thing with me, so watch out.
It's great. You don't introduce yourself. You're going up, you're playing this ballad, and then you're like, so fucking. It was way more. It was more. It was
elegant.
More elegant, but
fucked.
It was great. It was great. I don't know. I feel like maybe I'm too associated with art. I can, in the past 2 months, maybe it's not that many times. 2 times though, in the past 2 months, I've drunk cried over art. You know, like I've like trying, like people, like one time was at my cabin, and then the other time it was Oktoberfest. Was it Oktoberfest? Or I celebrate Oktoberfest at my friend's family. It was a huge family, like 2 weekends ago or something. So it wasn't even exactly on Oktoberfest. But like, I don't know, it's just kind of frustrating from a platform's perspective, like how disassociated people are from art. And then by the time people are willing to accept it, the artist is mentally just not there in a lot of cases. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, like, that's a real thing. That's for sure. I mean, because it's a grind, and but what I will say though is as I think as shitty as the grind is, and the further you go without whatever your definition of success is, which by the way for most artists is never met. I think that the disassociation is it just, people have different ways of associating.
Right.
And I don't think everyone will always be what you are.
Right.
Which is crying to a song.
Yeah.
Which is great.
Yeah.
I mean, I write sad music, and they're the reason I write it. And I think that people associate, like, however they associate, as long as whatever the artist did and the disassociated people saw and they liked, then that's really the only thing. I mean, I can worry about it and be like, fuck, this is such a grind, and I'm so worried about, you know, when are they gonna like come to terms with like the what we're doing, you know?
What about Jeff Buckley? Do you think he would have felt fulfilled knowing that his music wouldn't hit until he died, or do you think he would have wanted to be seen more before he died? Like, what coin do you think he would have flipped?
If you're an artist putting out art, putting it out, so that's the biggest importance here is, if you're an artist and you don't put anything out, then you're not in the category of what I'm about to say. you can just be an artist for your own, and you just love doing stuff, and that's fantastic. If you're an artist of any medium putting anything out, there's a reason you're putting it out. You want people to see it. You want people to hear it. You want people to, most importantly, resonate with it, and hope that it'll help someone through something or whatever. So, yeah, Jeff Buckley, I guess I'll speak for him because I know him very well.
Yeah, you guys like grew up together in Wisconsin.
Of course he wanted people to hear his music. If you're putting stuff out and you're playing shows and you say you don't want people to hear your stuff, you're just lying.
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not true.
Yeah.
But yeah.
I don't know. I don't have my phone on me. I forget what it's called. He has this song called, it's a super long title. It's like Lover Should I Come or something like that. Something about like.
Sounds like an R. Kelly song.
No, it's not like not the ejaculation. It's like,
got it.
Like, should I come over?
Okay.
It might be. I think that's what it's called. Lover, should I come over?
Yeah, so not R. Kelly.
Something like that.
Okay.
And he's like, it's about like, debating whether or not you should make up with like a lover. And at the end of the song, he still doesn't really come to a conclusion.
Okay.
Right. And I'm like, damn, he really. Like, what if that song was specifically made for someone? But that album, even though I don't know the name of the album, if you guys don't know who Jeff Buckley is, he passed away like in the 90s or so, after releasing like 1 or 2 albums.
From drowning.
Yeah, and like neither of the albums gained commercial success until he passed away. Yeah. So with that song on that album, Lover Should I Come, I'm like, I always, at the end of the song, I'm always like, damn, now he can't come and see them because he passed away. Like, what if it didn't... What if he made that song specifically for someone and they never heard it until he passed away because it reached the success, you know? So I think about that.
I mean, yeah, sucks if that's the case. I mean, you know, I like that. Yeah, that would be terrible. But also, I mean, I feel like that's just inevitable with art.
Yeah.
You know, there's so many visual artists who no one cares at all about until they're dead.
Right.
And then they're cool. And which is terrible.
Yeah.
But also getting your art out is really difficult. So sometimes it takes faking your own death to do.
Yeah. This podcast studio is rigged with a bomb.
Sweet.
But I'm getting your art out. Let's get back on track here. Getting your art out. You've appeared on a Tiny Desk, which is a huge accomplishment. How did that come about?
That was crazy. So they have a thing called Tiny Desk like contest. I think it was kind of just getting started when we submitted. They may have done a few years. I think they did a few years prior to that, but it wasn't too big. And we submitted, didn't win. So we're like, yeah, well, it was cool. We got some people to know our music from it, you know, and that's cool. But then we got an email months later from the NPR team. Because what they do with the winners is they put them on tour and they go to each city and in each city they ask a few of the other artists that had submitted that they liked to play that show with the winner. So they had emailed us when they came to Seattle and asked if we wanted to do that showcase show with the winner. And obviously we're like, fuck yeah. So we did that, and luckily for us, Bob Boylan, who's host of Tiny Desk, he was at that show. And before we did that show, I was talking to the band. I'm like, okay, like, I know we hate networking. I know I just hate the idea of all of it. Like, right. I just want to do music and do like a typical artist, you know, like, just let me do my thing and it'll be big. But I was like, this is our opportunity. If Bob's going to be there and to get in front of KEXP because they didn't know really who we were. I had like tried to get them to pay attention, but sometimes you just have to be in front of people, like human to human interaction, you know.
Yeah.
So like when we go and we do this thing, first off, let's not screw it up. Second, like we have to talk to these people. We have to just enjoy the conversations and be there and be present, and things will happen if they happen, and they won't if they don't. Luckily we didn't screw it up. And we were talking to Bob for a while, who's a great human being, super authentically into music, and he liked it, and then emailed us a few months later, and asked us if we wanted to come to DC to do an actual Tiny Desk, which was like, when we got that email, I sent it to my brother, who's also in the band. Like, Jay, did you read the email that we got? He's like, yeah, is that real? I'm like, I think so, but I don't know. I'm pretty sure it's real.
Yeah.
And it was. And then it took like 9 months to kind of plan. We booked our own like little national tour around that show, mainly so we would be more prepped when we came to do that show. But yeah, and that show is what got us on KEXP too. We talked to Kevin Cole, and luckily he liked our performance at that showcase, and then he got us a KEXP in studio and stuff. So it kind of all floated around from that. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah.
Damn. And what year was that?
I think that it was 2018 when we submitted and got contacted from Bob and stuff, and then yeah, because then we did our tour in 2019, but it was like it took a while to get that in motion.
Got it.
Yeah.
So far you've released 1 or 2 albums, and then you released a cover of Sunshine. Was that in 2020?
Ain't No Sunshine. Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
the album, we released 1 full-length record that we recorded, produced, wrote, recorded, mixed, mastered in our basement. And that was the one time that I actually felt disabled, was because I mixed the record, and like, like hearing Life in Mono my whole life, and I'll forever hear Life in Mono. Mixing in stereo is like a mind fuck, because it just, stereo to me is all in the left side.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of teach myself like different ways that would work for myself, to like, okay, I interpret stereo way different than other people. Like the right side's quiet. It's not just on the right side. So I have to be aware of that. And yeah, so it's the one time in my life I'm like, this fucking sucks.
Right.
Like, this is actually terrible. I fucking hate this. But luckily it turned out okay and got attention.
Yeah,
so,
it did.
Yeah.
So what's that process like to make an album? Because it's definitely been that the album, which is Painting. What is that album called?
The first album is I Am Become.
I Am Become.
Yeah.
And then that's been about five
Unfortunately,
years.
yeah. It's been
Yeah. So what's that like? Do you have like, is your writing process and creative process? I guess it's also because you're in a band. It might take a few years to get everyone consolidated, or what's that like?
So that album took, well, I mean, it was the first record, so I feel like first records always take a while, because you don't know what the hell you're doing. I mean, you never know what you're doing. Even on the second record, I'm like, what am I doing? But on that record, it was like we had moved to like multiple different houses between that record and.
Wait, first of all, were you in Seattle at this point, or no?
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, we kind of skipped over all that. Basically, like at some point, I moved to Seattle in 2009, and then like got a whole new band aside from myself kind of set up, with different musicians and stuff. And like my brother moved out to Seattle. I grabbed my really good friend that also used to live in Wisconsin that I grew up with, who was in Oregon. He moved up to Seattle. We got a drummer who ended up moving away after 5 years. Like band things go like this. Yeah. We have a good core group of people right now, but anyways, to fast forward, we moved to a bunch of different houses, kept setting up kind of makeshift studios in each house we'd move to, because you're in Seattle, things are expensive. You always have to just move around.
Yeah.
And eventually got that record done. But it was it wasn't just the writing that took a while. It was also just like, what is mic placement? What is what's everything? Like, we didn't know anything. So, going to the second record now, it's less fearful that way, but also fearful in a different way, where like, now we know a few things, so hopefully we don't screw that up. I don't know.
So what's that like now? Are you doing it through studios in Seattle now, or is it still in the basement, or what's that like?
It's not in a basement. But it is in our own studio still.
Ooh.
We do everything in house still. I think my brain works that way more. In that I work really slow. And I need to speed that up, but I have another project that's hopefully gonna help me fix that problem. But it's like, if I was in a studio paying for studio time, I always feel really rushed.
Right.
And I can't get my idea across. So that's just why we do that in our own studio.
How does an artist do that successfully? Do you just have to have a fuck ton of money or backing from a label? Like, how does someone feel comfortable being in a space like it's like way easier if you're a hip hop artist, I feel like, or a pop artist maybe.
I mean, man, I don't have that answer. I feel like I think everyone's different. There could be a pop artist who doesn't really do anything, and there's 30 writers on a song, and then 4 producers come in, or 1 producer, and they kind of make it, and they're like, here, just sing this thing. Right. Or there's a pop artist who's doing a ton of stuff themselves. Like, I don't know.
Fair enough. So, yeah, we fast forwarded a lot, which is fun.
Yeah, I jump around.
No, I do too.
People know exactly where we are right now.
So, we jumped from college to Tiny Desk.
Yeah.
And somehow we went on
I dropped out of college and I went to Tiny Desk. That's how.
And somehow you met Jeff Buckley along the way.
Yeah, in Wisconsin.
So, but it's interesting because your open heart surgery, from an article I read at least, propelled you to move to Seattle. And if that is the case, why is that the case?
Interesting. No. What article did you read? Yeah, I mean, my open heart surgery was in 2008.
Okay.
And to make that story really short, because I don't want to make this whole podcast about like all my actual
remember there's a quiz at the end,
surgeries and stuff. Yeah, that was just basically I booked the first 6 shows with my band ever. Like,
what's that band called?
That band was called Faintly.
Okay. And
we renamed before we actually released anything to Among Authors. So remember Among Authors, don't remember. Yeah, I booked the first 6 shows, and then I had an aneurysm in my heart. It basically blew up. And they're like, yo, you're going to die in 6 months if you don't get this fixed. Had to cancel my shows, do that. Fast forward. I was like, I need to move after that. Mm-hmm. And so we moved to Seattle.
Why Seattle? Just because your brother?
No.
Okay.
No, my brother was still in Wisconsin. Actually, my brother was in LA and then moved back to Wisconsin. Then I moved to Seattle. Yeah. But no, my bassist at the time, who I'm good friends with still, he didn't want to go. I wanted to go to Boston, and he didn't want to go to Boston because he didn't want to deal with the winters, because we deal with them in Wisconsin. Yeah. I'm like, okay, fine. Let's go to Seattle. That seems like a city that might work. We like coffee, like, cool. Yeah. So we got here, and then eventually he quit the band and moved back to Wisconsin, and left me here to die.
On the street, in the blistering cold.
Yeah. But
I can remember it like it was yesterday. Wow. So in Wisconsin, were you part of a music scene?
Is there a music scene? No.
I have no idea. There's a
Yeah.
cheese scene, right? There's a lot of cheese in Wisconsin.
Oh man, yeah. I wasn't really part of that scene. Much. Yeah. I mean, we were, I think, kind of part of a music scene. I was confused back then, to be honest, because I didn't know what. I kind of didn't even know what a music scene was, like a proper music scene. I think I was just like, we're doing music and let's book some shows. Oh, we met these bands, and that was it. I mean, I don't know.
Right.
And, yeah, and that is what a music scene is, I guess. And now knowing, but I think Seattle's music scene is much larger, or it was easier for me to get into.
Okay.
And also I was less accessible back then because I didn't know at all what I was doing, so I wasn't maybe getting my foot in the right places to be in the scene. So
got it.
Yeah,
so
there's a lot of great artists that come out of Wisconsin though,
really?
So yeah.
All right. I don't know much about Wisconsin.
A good not really good friends of mine that I played with back in the day, that I know from Wisconsin. They're in a group called Foreign Fields.
Hell yeah.
Their music is fucking amazing. I don't know if they're living in Wisconsin now. I know they moved out of Wisconsin, then they moved back. I don't know really what they're doing, but so good. And I think they went on tour with like Counting Crows.
Oh, dope.
At some point, it was so random. Like, what? That's because their music wasn't at all the same. It was so random. I think they met them at like South by Southwest or something. I don't know the whole story, but I feel like they kind of blew up a little bit after that. But their music is incredible.
I'll have to check it out. So what was your experience joining the music scene in Seattle?
I feel like it was like everyone talks about like the Seattle freeze.
Mm-hmm.
I don't, at least in the music community, I didn't experience that at all.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, like it's not easy to get into certain venues or to get KEXP's attention, and that's not a bad thing. It's just that's how the industry works. You can't just be like, hey, look at my stuff. Am I cool? You know,
Dope.
It takes a while. It takes a really long time to just get your feet in and have authentic connections with people and not feel like everyone's just out to get something. But the community in Seattle, I feel like, has been great. And there's places like Connor Burn Open Mic on Sundays that just puts you right into the music community, and people are welcoming. And if you frequent a spot like that every Sunday, you'll be amazed at who turns up to your shows.
Have you gone to Freakout Fest yet?
No. You know what's funny?
Dude, you'd kill it at Freakout
I'm
Fest.
not in that community.
That's the
Freakout.
Oh,
what? Come on. Yeah. I know Shayna, and
I just had her on the podcast.
Yeah, I know. I know Shayna and some other people from Freakout, but it's like, yeah, I don't know. Just never. They're doing things.
You're in the NAST community. We'll get this sorted out ASAP. Okay, so move to Seattle. You're working on a new project. Is that something you just because you're dropping a new single? Does that mean you're working on a new project as well then?
Yeah, new album. Yeah.
New album. Hell yeah.
Yeah, we have. Yeah. It's been taking a while, but.
Did COVID impact your band at all?
Oh yeah.
Oh, how so?
I mean, every member died. No, I'm kidding.
Wow. That's wild.
That was a really dark joke, and I take it back because a lot of people did die during COVID, and not during COVID, like they're still dying from COVID.
Yeah.
So my heart really authentically goes out to every family who's lost someone. So let me back that up. But
Fair enough.
Yeah, but no, COVID was a really weird, like the pandemic was such a weird time to be a musician, and I didn't think that was the case until now. When the thick of it was happening, our band was actually like, cool, okay, that actually will give us a little bit of time to try to record and get stuff out and not have to worry about being so front facing in the scene. and or losing momentum, because that kind of everyone's at the same.
Yeah.
You know, everyone's losing all their momentum right now. So from like a business standpoint, we're like, okay, this is kind of good for us specifically. But what ended up happening is the band just kind of fell apart. Like everyone went into pandemic mode, and there wasn't inspiration. It just was like, what the hell is happening? Like we're not going to see show. And I don't think you realize how important it is to be out, even like doing anything.
Yeah.
But just not even just being at shows, but just being out in front of people you don't know, that inspires just making something.
Right.
And that really screwed us up. I would imagine it probably screwed up a ton of artists in that way. And I didn't think that was the case until coming more out of it now. Looking back, like I feel like we didn't do shit.
Shit.
Like I worked on stuff,
Yeah.
but it was really hard to put my brain into that space during that time. I don't know.
Did you guys wait? So are you guys all still living together, or what is that?
No.
Okay.
No, we all live separate. My brother has a kid.
Okay.
Such a cute kid. And his name's Arthur. So oddly enough, it's like Among Arthurs.
Dun dun dun.
But
That's hilarious.
we'll release that shirt sometime.
How do you get that title, by the way, Among Authors? Are you guys all authors?
No, none of us are. Someday I'll read my first book. No. Among Authors was, we wanted to make a name that was like, authors to us is just people who create.
Mm-hmm.
It can be music, it can be any sort of creation. But we value the music community so much, and the way it supports you, that we wanted a name that encompassed being among everyone that was creative. So that's where that name came from.
I like it.
And then like the logo part of it, which is like the 3 lines under each A, that came about because for myself, it's really hard for me to not try to get something to a point that is my idea of my own perfection for myself. That doesn't mean anyone else will like it, but whatever I had in my head, I want to get across for myself. And that has been like a struggle, because it slows processes down and it doesn't let you let go of things and get them out. And that was kind of a play on that, because I was like, what if we just don't capitalize the A's, which we should be doing because it's technically like a pronoun. So we should be capitalizing the A's, but what if we didn't? But then that's going to bother me. Right. So let's put the 3 lines underneath, because it's kind of showing that I just still couldn't let go of the fact that they should have been capitalized. Because the 3 lines is like the symbol for like capitalization when you're correcting someone's paper in class.
Yeah.
So it's like a symbolism of like perfectionism ruining your brain.
Right. And it just works well, because the Tiny Desk is kind of like a little library looking thing. So
yeah,
authors, it all makes sense.
It all happened because of our name.
Yes. You put it out into the world. I have a question for you. I forget who, but at the So Far Sounds show.
So Far Sounds at the Triple S show.
I forget who I was telling, but I was like, I need to have you on the show. And someone was excited that I wanted to. I forget, how do I not remember? It was literally a few years ago that we
way back when.
But like someone was trying to, and I don't think they were saying this negatively, but someone was saying that you were kind of going for what is that word when like you're kind of hidden with your music. And I'm like, I don't know, because you just said people putting out their music are wanting to be heard.
Yeah.
So
I mean, mysterious. I don't know.
What is it called? It starts with a D, I feel like.
Dumb?
No, like I don't freaking know the word.
Deceptive?
But like people, it seems like the person I was talking to was saying their vibe from you is that you were trying to like be mysterious, and if people know your music, they know it. But I feel like you're probably not trying, like you want to be a little mysterious, but you want your music to be heard. So do people ever come up to you saying they kind of get that energy from you, that your music's kind of like mysterious and you're kind of mysterious?
I don't know. You know why I'm mysterious? Because I don't want to fucking talk about
All right.
shit I should be talking about. That's the only reason.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like mysterious.
What is the word?
Huh?
I forget the word. It starts with a D. I'm telling you, mysterious is the synonym we're going with.
Yeah, that's cool. Maybe they get that vibe because I don't talk a lot when I'm. I mean, last night. I mean, a few years ago when you saw, it was. I talked a lot more than I normally do, and it was specifically for the single release that's coming out. But I mean, like if our full band plays, there is like maybe a section or two, maybe in our set that I'll say something. Other than that, it's music, and it's maybe that is giving the perception of being quote unquote mysterious because we're not interacting with the crowd. So I think the word you're looking for is assholes.
No wonder you're saying fuck so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think, I don't know, and maybe I had a hood on or something.
But so you've never been called mysterious?
I have been, and I don't.
See?
And but here's the truth of the matter. Yes, I want our music to be heard because I don't want to fucking work a day job, okay?
Right.
Please, people, listen to our music and
listen.
hopefully pay me for it in some capacity at some point because I want to just keep being able to do that, and that would be great. And if you think I'm mysterious, then let that mystery pay my pay me money so I can keep being mysterious.
Fair enough. Wait, so what is your day job if you do have a day job? And if you're allowed to talk about it? Some people are not open to talking about their day jobs.
Why? Do they want to be mysterious? I'll tell you the real. I'll give you the skinny on day jobs. Yeah, we still do. Fucking 13 years later, however long it's been. No. No, definitely don't work there. Here's the thing. If people don't want to talk about their day jobs because they're an artist or something, okay, well, whatever. That's fine. They're still having to pay bills, and maybe their art's not paying those bills, and so they're working a day job, and they don't want to talk about it because they want to be mysterious and be some cool artist. That's cool. That's fine. They can do their thing. Yes, I work day jobs because I'm fucking broke,
right?
And I need to make money because my mysteriousness is not doing that right now. Currently, I don't actually have a day job, and that's only because I got laid off. Yeah, that was back in July, but they paid me like a little severance.
Okay.
So I'm not talking shit about the company. They did what they had to do. They're a VR gaming company which making something nuts. And they moved. Basically, I did like QA stuff. QA testing stuff. I've done that for a long time, and they were just moving their QA to Japan.
So hopefully you can give me insight on if this was a good move on my part or not.
No.
So about a month ago, my friend sent me this link to this VR testing, and I was like, shit, I need some more equipment. And they were paying like $200 to do a VR testing. And I went to it in this like just random skyscraper in Bellevue.
Sounds about right, yeah.
And like on this random floor. Yeah. And for 2 hours, they made me make like weird faces into the camera. Okay. So the VR could track me.
Yeah.
And then I would say random words so the VR can like pick up on enunciation and everything like that. And I got paid $200 to buy some equipment. So hell yeah. But like, is that like, what are they doing? What are they doing with that? Like, they don't own my facial expressions now, right?
No, they own you forever. No, I mean, that's just, I'm sure they're just trying to get they're just trying to make facial recognition better, and so that they can implement that into like different types of avatars and stuff. I mean, it's $200 in your pocket. That's what that is.
Yeah.
And
I should
so,
send you the link if you need some gigs. let me send you that.
I mean, that's the thing. Like I'm coming from like a QA testing background, so with this company in particular, we were working on one specific game. That will be a very big game. Wow, my stomach.
Wow.
But yeah, I was like one of 2 testers, and we just tested the whole thing, found bunches and bunches of bugs, and wrote up bugs, and yeah.
Did you ever follow Blake Lemoine and the stuff that happened at Google with like the sentient AI?
No.
What? Was it Google or Microsoft? I think it was Google or Microsoft. It's either one of those, which are completely different companies. One of those companies, you heard about the sentient AI though? But it was like a chat bot. So it was a little.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like a accumulation of all the chat bots put together to make this one.
Yeah. Which is nuts.
And I was watching. He's gotten involved with like 3 of my favorite podcasts. He's gone on to talk about it. So, and then like I said, I just had the AI artist on my show. So AR is really interesting in how it's going to affect art.
It's fascinating.
So let's get into your single now.
Let's do it.
Tell the audience the title of it.
Fears We Hold.
Fears We Hold.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the background. And first off, how long? Because during the show, it's like ASMR. It's a little Easter egg for you guys listening.
Turn that up.
Hopefully, someone in the comments is like at 1 hour and whatever.
Oh, that will happen for sure.
But basically, during that show I saw a few years ago, you were talking about this song, and you were saying it's something that you've been trying to get off your chest and put out to the world. So let's start with, how long has this song been in creation?
Well, this song artistically has been in creation for, I don't know, 2 years or something. But from an emotional standpoint, the song's been in creation since the day I was born. Or since I started having acknowledgement of what I was born with, which I guess wasn't the day I was born, maybe 10 or something.
Fair.
Yeah.
Got it. So what is this song about?
I'll give that in 2 answers. For me personally, it's about very specific things. It's about not ever being able to let go of the uncomfortableness that comes with being in a social situation when I know how I was born without a thumb and an ear on my right side, and feeling like going to get a coffee at Starbucks and like ordering that coffee, someone's probably looking at the way I'm doing it, or like, it's so stupid. Like, I acknowledge how dumb it actually sounds when I'm speaking about it, which is why I need to speak about it. And it's like when you're born with what, it doesn't matter what it is. When something physically that you're dealing with is making you feel like someone's looking at you in a way that makes you feel uncomfortable, it doesn't matter what it is. You start to move and hide things subconsciously. And so throughout my life, as I got older and older, like when you're young, you don't really think about it much. You are what you are. Your friends are who they are. As you get older, unfortunately, you get dumber that way. And you're just like, oh shit, I got to think about everything and worry about everything. So as an adult, I've realized, thinking back, like, wow, I move my body in a certain way. I hide my right hand. I have long hair. I have all of these things that I don't, that every day, like, I don't wake up every day thinking, okay, today I'm gonna show my right hand or whatever. But I wish I did, because it would help me get through some of the stuff that I just dealt with emotionally. And but every day I do wake up thinking the negative side of that, of like, okay, when I'm out today, how will I hide those things instead of how will I show them, which should be how I'm thinking. And yeah, it fucked me up in a lot of ways, but also made my life really good in a lot of ways, which is the other important thing, and something I want to get across in this song, is it's written from the perspective of me now going back to my young self and just being like, hey, grab my hand, I'm gonna pull you through life and show you that you don't have to worry. Like, there's gonna be an asshole once in a while that you interpret as an asshole that is gonna make you feel like shit, and you're gonna get past it. And then there's gonna be like 100 people that are great, and will show you that doesn't fucking matter. And you just need to let go and like live your life, or you're not gonna be happy. Like,
Right.
you're always gonna be stuck in a spot that's perpetually slightly negative, which sucks.
Right. I feel like it's always a process, but how did you come to terms with learning how to start letting go of certain things?
I haven't learned how to do that. To this day, sitting with you, I'm still sitting in a way that makes it not so uncomfortable for me. And that is the epitome of the shittiness of growing up feeling something like that. Oh, my partner is calling me, probably.
She's like, it's 6 hours.
Yeah. What the hell is wrong with you? But it's that's what I'm trying to get across in this song. And I think the only reason I want to even put it out in the first place is because I really have to for myself. And that's why I want to put it out with some pictures of like what I look like, what does my other side look like that I don't ever show. And it's because I have to do my own therapy. If I don't, I'm just gonna. It's weird, but I feel like I'm always kind of just like living a lie, even though I'm a really truthful person and the things I write about are truthful and the things that have happened to me in life. I feel like as someone in a social situation who, honestly, as like an artist too, we're always kind of made to feel like you have to be pretty, you have to be, whatever. And again, that's our own perception. Like, I don't think I can't pinpoint it on a thing that makes me feel like that. I'm just a fucking human who's like overanalyzing everything. But it's for those reasons of overanalyzing and overanalyzing and overanalyzing for just my own dumb reasons that this song is really important for me to release it the way that I want to release it. I mean, I told my band, hey, this is a song about this. You're welcome to all hop on the train and talk about things that have bothered you in your own lives, because it's not about me. It's about that in general. It's just I have this part of that to talk about, right? So, they're all like, no, you do your thing. This is like, you talk about what you want to talk about. But I have to get it out the way that I want to, visually and stuff, so that I can go, well, I mean, the world sees me now, so fuck it, deal with it for myself.
I know. I think that's very true. I think we've all learned from an artist perspective and from a fan perspective, the more personal you are in your songs, somehow that's even more relatable.
I mean, it should be.
Yeah.
I mean, because I think for me, I mean, music is a fucking grind. And if you want to do it for a living, it's even more of a grind. And that part is not enjoyable at all. I fucking hate it. But I do it without thinking about it because I really want to make music. And for my own sanity.
Right.
And for my insanity sometimes. But yeah. But I wrote the song for there's a few lyrics in it that are really kind of specific to the way I was born, but I tried to write them in a way that people can just relate it to their own life because I'm one of 7 billion people on the planet, however many. I don't know how many people listen to Spotify, but not that many, but enough to know that I don't know, I feel like if every single person is just got some stupid thing that they, and I call it stupid because it really is, when you come down to it, is fucking dumb to worry about things that small that seem, that really, when you think about it, are that small when I could be dead already.
Right.
Or so I wanted to write it in a way that hopefully gets people to, at a show, maybe they'll sing along and they'll feel like it's something that means something to them and not just something that I wrote for myself.
And was this process different than other projects or songs you've released?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it was a lot different in that I wrote like 8 different versions of it, recorded 8 different versions of it. And I mean, I do that with a lot of songs anyways, but this one was like a whole different chorus, a whole different verse. Then I did it again, and I'm like, just nothing is right. Like, this one sounds like a little too eerie when I need it to sound hopeful. This one, so this one was like a pain in the ass. And I think I landed on something that works, but it's almost like too personal that I had a really hard time dealing with how it would be perceived when I release it. Like, okay, are people gonna hate this? Or is no one gonna care? It's like,
Right.
But I think when I got down to it, I was like, I need to release this the way that I want to release it. I'm gonna show pictures. I'm gonna have it out there. People are gonna like the song or not like the song, and I just need to do this for me, but hopefully write it in a way that people can relate it to themselves.
Yeah, it's also got to be a little scary but exciting for this to be for it to be your first song back, and like,
I mean, that's the other reason I chose it for that.
Yeah.
I wanted it to be the most prominent thing that's going on with us right now, because for myself, I need it to be the focal point of what we're doing right now. Because if it was just on the record, it wouldn't be giving me the therapy that I'm hoping to get from it, which is just, look at this, please. And I have to just deal with people seeing me. So, yeah.
Hell yeah. Well, I'm excited to listen to it.
I'm nervous.
Well, I think people listening to this will have some great insight for it. You've been a great guest, man.
Thanks.
You've
been a great host.
Thank you. I try. Yeah, it's honestly, there's hasn't been many people that I see live that I feel that it's so necessary to have them on right away. You know what I mean? Realistically, yes, this is the day, the day after hearing him live, I was like, I have to have him on the show.
I mean, I'm glad we could make it happen that quick.
Yeah. Yeah, your music was very impactful, and I think you definitely blew the other artists out of the water. Like, they so far tries to wants it to be everyone's on the same level. There's no headliner or whatever, but you definitely left the room different than when people entered, in a good way.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, I'm really happy we made this happen. You're part of the NAST community now, like I said.
We'll get the whole band on here at some point.
Yes. Yeah. Just my mind's just working on the ways we can collaborate and everything like that.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even tell my band I was doing this. That's how fast it happened. They have no idea I'm doing this right now. That's how I work. We don't talk. We just release music.
I'm dead. But anyways, let's see. How do we end this? We end it with first. What's the easiest way for people to reach you and the band?
Just handwritten letters.
There we go, by pigeon.
Yeah. I mean, just Among Authors at anything, like at Among Authors at Instagram. I think the only one that's weird is YouTube / Among Authors Music or Band. I can't remember because YouTube sucked when we tried to create that, and I'm like, damn it. But everything else, amongauthors.com or just Among Authors on Google.
Mm-hmm.
You'll find stuff.
It's definitely a flex for when you type in Among Authors on YouTube for Tiny Desk to pop up as one of the first things. That's baller.
I mean, we got really fortunate. I mean, yeah.
All deserved. With that, what is some final advice you have for up and coming artists, creators, influencers?
Oh, wow. Man. I think my advice is don't take anyone's advice. Just follow your own path. There'll be some good advice sometimes, like this.
Yes.
But but I don't know. Just be a good person.
Yeah.
And hopefully things will happen for you.
Yeah.
I don't know.
If your band teacher tells you not to go to college, follow it.
Listen, that's the only advice you should know. Man, I have so many good friends who have graduated many great colleges and are doing insane things. So I'm not promoting not going to college, but yeah, that was just my own path.
Yeah, everyone has their own path. And your path led you to the NAST podcast.
There we go, baby.
This has been the NAST podcast with
Ian from Among Authors.
And we did it.